Throughout the ages, humankind has gazed upon the cosmos and grappled with a profound and enduring question. Why does anything exist at all? The sheer immensity of the universe, with its billions of galaxies and countless stars, ignites within us a sense of awe and wonder. Yet it also compels us to confront the fundamental mystery of existence itself. Is our universe merely a random accident, a cosmic coincidence devoid of inherent meaning or purpose? Or is there a deeper, more profound explanation for the existence of everything we observe and experience? This fundamental question has captivated philosophers, theologians, and scientists for centuries, giving rise to a rich tapestry of thought and debate. From the ancient Greeks to modern-day thinkers, the human mind has relentlessly sought to unravel the enigma of existence, searching for answers in the realms of reason, faith, and empirical observation. While definitive answers may remain elusive, the very act of exploration has enriched our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. The human desire to find meaning and purpose in the universe is deeply ingrained within us. We are meaning-making creatures, constantly striving to understand our place in the grand scheme of things. The vastness of the cosmos can evoke feelings of insignificance, yet it can also inspire us to seek a deeper connection to something greater than ourselves. This innate yearning for transcendence has led many to embrace the idea of a divine creator, a source of ultimate meaning and purpose that transcends our limited human understanding. The philosophical arguments for the existence of God provide a framework for exploring this profound question of meaning. They invite us to consider the possibility that our universe is not a random occurrence, but rather the product of intelligent design, imbued with purpose and intention. These arguments do not offer irrefutable proof, but they do present compelling reasons to consider the existence of a realm beyond the material world, a realm where the ultimate answers to life's mysteries may reside. As we delve into these arguments, it's essential to approach them with an open mind, embracing the spirit of intellectual curiosity and critical thinking. The goal is not to arrive at definitive answers, but rather to engage in a meaningful exploration of one of humanity's most enduring questions. Whether you approach this topic from a place of faith, skepticism, or somewhere in between, the journey itself is an opportunity for personal growth and a deeper understanding of the human condition. Imagine a single domino standing upright, poised to topple. What caused it to fall? Another domino, of course, striking it with just enough force to set it in motion. But what caused the previous domino to fall? Another domino before that, and so on. This simple analogy, while limited, helps illustrate the core principle behind the cosmological argument. The idea that every effect must have a cause. Proponents of this argument, dating back to ancient philosophers like Aristotle, argue that we cannot have an infinite regress of causes. In other words, the chain of cause and effect cannot stretch backward infinitely. There must be a starting point, a first cause that is itself uncaused, existing outside the realm of cause and effect as we know it. This first cause, they argue, is the ultimate explanation for the existence of the universe and everything within it. The cosmological argument gains further traction when we consider the nature of the universe itself. Modern cosmology tells us that the universe had a beginning, a point in time known as the Big Bang. If the universe had a beginning, then it stands to reason that it must have had a cause. Something outside of the universe itself must have brought it into existence. This first cause, according to the cosmological argument, is the ultimate source of being and the ground of all existence. One of the most influential proponents of the cosmological argument was the 13th century philosopher and theologian St. Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas, drawing upon the works of Aristotle, developed a sophisticated version of the cosmological argument, presenting it as one of his 5 ways of proving the existence of God. Aquinas argued that the universe is contingent, meaning that it depends on something else for its existence. Everything within the universe, from the smallest subatomic particle to the largest galaxy, is contingent upon something else for its being. However, Aquinas reasoned, there must be something that is not contingent, something that exists necessarily by its very nature. This necessary being, he argued, is God. Aquinas envisioned God as the unmoved mover, the ultimate source of motion and change in the universe, just as a ball at rest will remain at rest until acted upon by an external force. So too does the universe require an uncaused cause to set it into motion. Aquinas' cosmological argument resonated deeply within the intellectual climate of his time and continues to be a subject of much discussion and debate among philosophers and theologians today. His emphasis on the contingency of the universe and the necessity of a first cause provides a compelling framework for understanding the relationship between God and creation. Section 3, the limits of logic, challenges to the cosmological argument. While the cosmological argument presents a compelling case for the existence of a first cause, it is not without its critics. Over the centuries, philosophers and scientists have raised various objections and counter-arguments highlighting both the strengths and limitations of this line of reasoning. One common critique centers on the nature of causality itself. Critics argue that our understanding of cause and effect is derived from our experience within the universe. We cannot simply assume that these same principles apply outside of the universe in the realm of the first cause. Furthermore, some argue that the cosmological argument, while logically sound, does not necessarily lead to the conclusion of a theistic God. The first cause, they contend, could be a deistic God, a being who created the universe but does not intervene in its affairs. Alternatively, it could be an impersonal force or principle, such as the laws of physics or some other fundamental aspect of reality. Section 1. The intricacies of design a universe crafted with purpose. From the delicate wings of a butterfly to the vast spiral arms of a distant galaxy, the universe is replete with examples of awe-inspiring order and complexity. The teleological argument, often referred to as the argument from design, suggests that this intricate design points to the existence of a designer, a cosmic architect who crafted the universe with purpose and intention. Just as a finely crafted watch implies the existence of a skilled watchmaker, so too, argue proponents of this argument, does the universe's intricate design imply the existence of a divine creator. The human eye, for example, with its complex arrangement of lenses, receptors and nerves, has long been cited as an example of extraordinary design. Charles Darwin himself, in his groundbreaking work on the origin of species, acknowledged the remarkable complexity of the eye, writing, "To suppose that the eye could have been formed by natural selection seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest degree." While Darwin ultimately offered a compelling explanation for the evolution of the eye through natural selection, the teleological argument persists as a powerful challenge to purely naturalistic explanations for the origin of life and the universe. Beyond the biological realm, the teleological argument finds further support in the laws of physics and the fundamental constants of nature. The precise values of these constants, such as the gravitational constant and the speed of light, appear to be finely tuned for the existence of life. Even slight variations in these values could have resulted in a universe hostile to life as we know it. This fine-tuning, argue proponents of the teleological argument, is strong evidence for a purposeful creator who designed the universe specifically for life to emerge. Section 2, Paley's Watchmaker. Analogy for a designed universe. One of the most famous articulations of the teleological argument comes from the 18th century philosopher William Paley. In his book Natural Theology, Paley presented his renowned watchmaker analogy. Imagine, Paley suggested, walking across a heath and stumbling upon a watch lying on the ground. Upon examining the watch, you would immediately recognize its intricate design, its gears, springs and hands working together to tell time. You would never conclude that the watch had simply come into existence by chance, assembled randomly from the materials found on the heath. Instead, you would rightly infer the existence of a watchmaker, a skilled craftsman who designed and assembled the watch for a specific purpose. Paley then argued that the universe, with its far greater complexity and order, is analogous to the watch. Just as the watch implies a watchmaker, so too does the universe imply a universe maker, a divine designer who crafted the cosmos with purpose and precision. The intricate laws of physics, the delicate balance of ecosystems, the remarkable complexity of living organisms. All these point to a mind far greater than our own, a mind capable of conceiving and creating such a magnificent and intricate reality. Paley's watchmaker analogy has endured for centuries as a compelling, albeit not unchallenged, argument for the existence of God. It taps into our intuitive sense that design implies a designer, that order and complexity do not simply arise from chaos. While critics have raised objections to the analogy, pointing to the limitations of comparing human artifacts to natural phenomena, Paley's argument remains a cornerstone of the teleological tradition. Modern cosmology and physics have unveiled a universe of astonishing grandeur and complexity, but they have also revealed something truly remarkable: the extraordinary fine-tuning of the universe for the existence of life. The fundamental constants of nature, the laws that govern the interactions of matter and energy, appear to be precisely calibrated for life to emerge. Even slight variations in these constants could have rendered the universe sterile and lifeless. For instance, if the strong nuclear force which binds protons and neutrons together in atomic nuclei were slightly weaker, stars would not be able to fuse hydrogen into helium, the process that powers our sun and generates the energy necessary for life. Conversely, if the strong force was slightly stronger, stars would burn too quickly and explosively, making it impossible for stable planetary systems to form. This delicate balance, replicated across numerous physical constants, has led many physicists and cosmologists to marvel at the apparent fine-tuning of our universe. This fine-tuning has profound implications for the teleological argument. If the universe were merely the product of random chance, a cosmic accident, one would expect to find a vast range of physical constants, most of which would be incompatible with life. However, the fact that we observe a universe so finely tuned for our existence suggests that perhaps it is not a coincidence after all. Perhaps, as the teleological argument suggests, there is a purpose behind our universe, a cosmic designer who carefully calibrated the laws of physics to allow for the emergence of life. The teleological argument, while compelling to many, has not escaped criticism. Over the centuries, philosophers, scientists, and theologians have raised various objections and counter-arguments, highlighting both the strengths and limitations of this line of reasoning. One common critique centers on the analogy between human artifacts, such as watches, and natural phenomena, such as the universe itself. Critics argue that the analogy is flawed because human artifacts are created by human intelligence, which operates within the confines of space, time, and the laws of physics. The universe, on the other hand, is not necessarily subject to the same constraints. Furthermore, the emergence of Darwinian evolution has provided a compelling naturalistic explanation for the complexity and diversity of life on Earth. Natural selection, acting over vast stretches of geological time, can account for the remarkable adaptations we observe in the biological world, from the camouflage of a chameleon to the intricate design of the human eye. While evolution does not directly address the question of the universe's origin or the fine-tuning of physical constants, it does offer a powerful alternative to the teleological argument's claim that complexity requires a designer. Despite these critiques, the teleological argument continues to resonate with many, serving as a powerful reminder of the remarkable order and beauty we observe in the universe. The debate surrounding the argument from design reflects the enduring human quest to comprehend our place in the cosmos and to grapple with the profound questions of existence, purpose, and the nature of reality. Whether one finds the teleological argument ultimately persuasive or not, engaging with its premises and critiques can deepen our appreciation for the wonders of the universe and the ongoing search for meaning in a vast and complex cosmos. Deep within the human spirit resides a profound sense of right and wrong, a moral compass that guides our actions and shapes our judgments of ourselves and others. We experience a surge of guilt when we betray a trust, a pang of empathy when we witness suffering, a surge of indignation when we encounter injustice. This innate moral sense, argue proponents of the moral argument, is more than just social conditioning or evolutionary adaptation. It is a reflection of a higher moral law, a law that transcends human constructs and points to the existence of a divine lawgiver, God. Throughout history, philosophers and theologians have recognized the power of the human conscience as a testament to our inherent moral nature. The Roman philosopher Cicero, for example, wrote, "There is a law, not written, but born upon us, which we possess from nature, according to which we distinguish what is honest from what is base." This unwritten law, this inner voice of conscience, speaks to a moral order that transcends cultural norms and individual preferences, suggesting a source beyond the realm of human invention. The moral argument gains further traction when we consider the universality of certain moral principles. Across cultures and throughout history, we find remarkable consistency in fundamental moral values such as truthfulness, compassion, fairness, and respect for life. While specific moral codes may vary, the underlying principles often reflect a shared sense of human dignity and the inherent value of human life. This universality, argue proponents of the moral argument, points to a common source, a divine lawgiver who has instilled these moral principles into the very fabric of our being. Section 2. Kant's moral imperative, seeking the source of moral obligation. The 18th century German philosopher Immanuel Kant, widely regarded as one of the most influential thinkers in Western history, offered a compelling articulation of the moral argument in his Critique of Practical Reason. Kant argued that our moral experience is characterized by a sense of categorical imperative, an unconditional moral obligation that transcends our personal desires and inclinations. When we act morally, Kant believed we are not merely following our own subjective preferences, but are responding to a higher moral law that compels us to act in accordance with duty. This categorical imperative, according to Kant, is expressed in the famous dictum, "Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law." In other words, we should only act in ways that we could rationally will everyone else to act in similar circumstances. This principle of universalizability, Kant argued, is the foundation of objective morality, a moral law that is binding on all rational beings, regardless of their individual beliefs or desires. Kant's moral argument rests on the premise that this categorical imperative, this sense of unconditional moral obligation, cannot be adequately explained by purely naturalistic means. If morality were merely a product of social conditioning or evolutionary adaptation, then it would be relative, subjective, and ultimately arbitrary. However, our experience of moral obligation as something absolute, something that transcends our individual preferences, suggests a source beyond the realm of human invention. This source, Kant believed, is God, the ultimate ground of morality and the guarantor of moral order. Section 3, Morality's Shifting Sands, Challenges to Objective Moral Values. While the moral argument appeals to our deep-seated sense of right and wrong, it has not escaped scrutiny. Critics, particularly those who embrace moral relativism or subjectivism, argue that there is no objective moral law, no universal standard of right and wrong. Morality, they contend, is a human construct, a product of social norms, cultural values, and individual preferences. What is considered morally right in one culture or time period may be considered morally wrong in another. There is no ultimate objective standard by which to judge these varying moral codes. Proponents of moral relativism often point to the wide diversity of moral beliefs and practices across cultures as evidence for their position. They argue that this diversity demonstrates the absence of a universal moral code. What one culture considers morally abhorrent, another culture may consider morally acceptable or even praiseworthy. This, they argue, undermines the claim that there are objective moral values that transcend cultural boundaries. Furthermore, critics of the moral argument often point to the challenges of identifying a specific set of moral values that are universally shared and consistently upheld across cultures. While some moral principles, such as the prohibition against murder, appear to be nearly universal, others, such as attitudes towards sexuality or the treatment of animals, vary widely. This variation, they argue, makes it difficult to claim that there is a single objective moral code that is binding on all people. Section 1. Whispers of the Divine. Personal encounters with the transcendent. While philosophical arguments offer a structured framework for exploring the existence of God, there is another realm of human experience that has profoundly shaped religious belief: the realm of personal spiritual encounters. Throughout history, countless individuals have reported profound experiences that have left them convinced of a reality beyond the material world, a realm where they believe they have encountered the divine. These experiences, often deeply personal and difficult to articulate, can range from moments of intense awe and wonder in nature to feelings of overwhelming peace and joy during prayer or meditation. For those who have had such experiences, they often serve as a bedrock of faith, a source of unshakable conviction that transcends intellectual reasoning or theological dogma. These encounters often defy easy categorization or scientific explanation, residing in a realm of subjective experience that is difficult to quantify or measure. Yet, their impact on the lives of individuals and the course of human history is undeniable. From the mystical visions of saints and prophets to the quiet moments of spiritual awakening experienced by ordinary people, these encounters with the transcendent have shaped religious traditions, inspired artistic expression, and provided solace and guidance to countless individuals seeking meaning and purpose in their lives. While these experiences are often deeply personal, they often share common threads. Individuals from diverse cultures and religious backgrounds describe a sense of overwhelming love, peace, or joy, a feeling of being enveloped in a presence that transcends their ordinary understanding of reality. These encounters often leave individuals feeling transformed with a renewed sense of purpose, a deeper connection to something greater than themselves, and a profound sense of the sacredness of life. Section 2. Beyond the material, the transformative power of spiritual experiences. One of the most compelling aspects of personal spiritual experiences is their transformative power. Individuals who have had such encounters often report a profound shift in their worldview, values, and priorities. The experience may lead them to question long-held beliefs, embrace new spiritual practices, or dedicate their lives to a particular cause or calling. The encounter with the transcendent can be a catalyst for personal growth, leading individuals to confront their fears, let go of past hurts, and embrace a more compassionate and loving way of being. For some, the transformative power of spiritual experiences manifests as a newfound sense of purpose and meaning in life. They may feel a calling to serve others, to work for social justice, or to dedicate their lives to a particular spiritual path. The experience can ignite a passion within them, a desire to make a difference in the world and to align their actions with their newfound understanding of a greater reality. This sense of purpose can be a powerful antidote to the feelings of emptiness, isolation, and meaninglessness that many people experience in the modern world. The transformative power of spiritual experiences is not limited to individuals. Throughout history, such experiences have sparked religious movements, inspired social change, and led to the creation of enduring works of art, music, and literature. The impact of these experiences on human culture is undeniable, shaping our understanding of ourselves, our relationship to the divine, and our place in the vast web of life. From the founding of major religions to the quiet revolutions that occur within individual hearts, spiritual experiences continue to shape the course of human history and inspire us to reach for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. Section 3. The limits of subjectivity. Can personal experiences prove God's existence? While personal spiritual experiences can be profoundly meaningful and transformative, they also raise important questions about the nature of evidence, belief, and the limits of subjectivity. Can these deeply personal, often ineffable experiences serve as proof of God's existence for anyone other than the individual who experiences them? This question has been a source of debate and discussion among philosophers, theologians, and scientists, for centuries. Skeptics often argue that personal experiences are inherently subjective and therefore unreliable as evidence for objective truths. What one person interprets as a divine encounter, another person might attribute to psychological factors, cultural conditioning, or even neurological phenomena. They point to the placebo effect, hallucinations, and other psychological phenomena as examples of how our brains can create compelling subjective experiences that have no basis in external reality. Furthermore, they argue that the diversity of religious experiences with individuals from different faiths reporting encounters with vastly different deities or spiritual entities undermines the claim that these experiences provide evidence for a single objective God. Proponents of the argument from experience, however, counter that while personal experiences may not constitute scientific proof, they can still serve as compelling evidence for the individual who has had them. They argue that dismissing these experiences as mere illusions or psychological anomalies fails to account for the profound impact they have on the lives of individuals and the course of human history. They point to the consistency of certain types of spiritual experiences across cultures and time periods, suggesting that these experiences may be tapping into a deeper reality that transcends cultural conditioning or individual interpretation. Ultimately, the question of whether or not personal experiences can serve as evidence for God's existence remains a matter of ongoing debate, reflecting the enduring human struggle to reconcile faith, reason, and the limits of human understanding. The philosophical arguments for the existence of God, while compelling to many, have not escaped the scrutiny of skeptics and atheists throughout history. These dissenting voices have raised important questions and counter-arguments, challenging the premises, logic, and conclusions of these arguments. From the nature of causality to the limits of analogy, these critiques have enriched the philosophical discourse surrounding the existence of God, prompting deeper reflection and refinement of the arguments themselves. One of the most common critiques levied against theistic arguments is the accusation of arguing from ignorance, also known as the God of the gaps fallacy. Critics argue that proponents of these arguments often appeal to God as an explanation for phenomena that science has yet to fully explain, such as the origin of the universe or the complexity of life. However, they contend that as science progresses and our understanding of the natural world expands, these gaps in our knowledge inevitably shrink, leaving less and less room for God to occupy. What was once attributed to divine intervention, they argue, can now be explained through natural processes, rendering the appeal to God unnecessary. Another common critique centers on the nature of evidence and the burden of proof. Critics argue that the burden of proof lies with those making the claim, in this case those claiming the existence of God. It is not sufficient, they contend, to simply point to gaps in our knowledge or to offer arguments that are logically possible, but not necessarily compelling. They demand extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims, arguing that the existence of a supernatural being who created and governs the universe would certainly qualify as an extraordinary claim, requiring extraordinary evidence to support it. The teleological argument, with its emphasis on the intricate design of the universe and living organisms as evidence for a divine designer, has faced particularly strong challenges from the field of evolutionary biology. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection, first articulated in his groundbreaking work On the Origin of Species in 1859, provided a compelling naturalistic explanation for the diversity and complexity of life on Earth, challenging the long-held belief that such complexity required a divine architect. Darwin argued that the appearance of design in nature is not the result of conscious intention, but rather the product of a blind but powerful process. Natural selection acting on random variation. Over countless generations, organisms with traits that enhance their survival and reproduction in a given environment are more likely to pass those traits on to their offspring. Over time, this process can lead to the evolution of new species and the remarkable adaptations we observe in the natural world, from the camouflage of a chameleon to the intricate design of the human eye. Evolutionary biologists argue that the teleological argument commits the fallacy of false dichotomy, assuming that the only explanation for complexity is intelligent design. Evolution, they contend, provides a third option, a naturalistic mechanism by which complexity can arise from simplicity without the need for a guiding hand. While evolution does not directly address the question of the universe's origin or the fine-tuning of physical constants, it does offer a powerful alternative to the teleological argument's claim that complexity in the biological world requires a designer. The moral argument, which asserts that objective moral values require a divine lawgiver, has also faced significant challenges from secular ethicists and philosophers. Critics argue that it is entirely possible to ground morality in a secular framework without appealing to a supernatural realm. They point to various secular ethical theories, such as utilitarianism, deontology, and virtue ethics, as examples of well-developed systems of morality that do not rely on the existence of God. Utilitarianism, for example, proposes that the morally right action is the one that maximizes happiness and minimizes suffering for the greatest number of people. Deontology, on the other hand, emphasizes the importance of following universal moral rules, regardless of their consequences. Virtue ethics focuses on cultivating virtuous character traits, such as honesty, compassion, and courage, as the foundation for a moral life. Critics of the moral argument also point to the problem of evil as a powerful challenge to the idea of a perfectly good and all-powerful God. If such a God exists, they argue, why is there so much suffering and evil in the world? The existence of gratuitous suffering, they contend, is incompatible with the traditional attributes of a benevolent and omnipotent deity. Furthermore, they argue that relying on God as the source of morality can lead to dangerous consequences, such as religious intolerance, fanaticism, and the justification of violence in the name of God. As we conclude our exploration of the philosophical arguments for the existence of God, we are left with a profound sense of the enduring power and complexity of this age-old question. The arguments we have examined, from the cosmological argument's emphasis on a first cause to the teleological argument's focus on design and purpose, offer compelling reasons to consider the possibility of a divine creator. Yet, as we have seen, each of these arguments also faces significant challenges and counter-arguments, reminding us that definitive proof remains elusive. The human mind, it seems, is forever drawn to the ultimate mysteries of existence, grappling with questions that may ultimately transcend our capacity for complete understanding. The arguments for and against the existence of God are not merely intellectual exercises, they are deeply intertwined with our values, beliefs, and experiences. For some, faith provides a firm foundation, a source of meaning and purpose that transcends the uncertainties of the material world. For others, reason and empirical evidence provide the compass by which they navigate the complexities of life. And for many, the journey is a fluid and evolving one, a delicate dance between faith and doubt, reason and intuition. Ultimately, the question of God's existence is a deeply personal one. There is no single answer, no definitive proof that will satisfy every doubt or resolve every question. The arguments we have explored serve as valuable tools for critical thinking, inviting us to engage with profound philosophical concepts and to examine our own beliefs and assumptions. Whether we ultimately embrace a theistic, atheistic, or agnostic perspective, the journey itself is a testament to the boundless capacity of the human mind to grapple with the mysteries of existence and to seek meaning and purpose in a vast and awe-inspiring universe. The search for truth is a journey without end, a journey that challenges us to expand our minds, to question our assumptions, and to embrace the unknown. It is a journey that invites us to engage in respectful dialogue with those who hold different views, recognizing that the pursuit of understanding is enriched by diverse perspectives. And it is a journey that reminds us of the profound mystery and beauty of the universe we inhabit, a universe that continues to inspire awe and wonder in equal measure.